Tapsi Kanno, welcome to NDTV. Good to have you on Women's Day. I saw your video as well online. Firstly, to all the women and men listening and watching this interview, what do you want to tell them?
Well, that list will be long. I would want to wish that let's use this day to decide what we can do to make the difference.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Tapsi, I've been interviewing you for many, many years. I can remember your answers at the back of your mind. I will recount some and tell you that, there was a time, Tapsi, you said that, there are magazine covers that don't come to you. There are people who don't interview you. It's been many years. You've done some exceptional work after that. Been a fan of Mulk and so many films that you've done. Have things changed for you?
Yes, of course they did. Quite a lot from probably all the interviews we have done from the beginning till now. Things have changed a lot, and for good. There's a long way to go. But then, if you don't have anything that you feel is missing, you don't have a goal to achieve then. So it's always good to not have everything. Then you know you are working towards something rather than just aimlessly working towards nothing, right? So you'll get somewhere good.
What changes? Success changes everything? One big hit film changes everything? Awards change everything?
Yeah, I think a hit film changes everything. That's the age-old truth of this business, and it stays. A hit film changes everything for you. And obviously the cherry on the cake is the fact that if you have a substantial role to play in making that film a hit, then then it really changes a lot. So that worked for me in a big way. And that was the biggest thing that worked for me. Let's just say that.
Right. When I ask a lot of people, everybody will have their opinion. But what was your turning point? Which film do you think changed things for you? You could just see things changing.
See, there were different milestones at different times, right? So be it starting from Pink, where people actually noticed me in a leading lady way. And then I had to back it up with every film, be it Naam Shabana, to do something like Judwa as well, where I could be like, okay, you can't slot me into something that, okay, she can't do this and that's why she's doing that. Then moving ahead and doing all these author-backed roles that I got to do last couple of years, be it Badla, be it Man Marziyan, even now, when getting the awards for Sand Ki Aankh to now Thappad, which became like actually technically, the first solo led film for me, which very, very scarily had my name on the poster, which was really petrifying for me to watch Taapsee Pannu in, and I'd never seen that before. It was very intimidating. So from now to where, I'm doing biopics of some really strong women, like actually Mithali in particular, and some brilliant roles being written and that are coming my way, which are making, and people especially, there was a dream a few years back for me that there should be a day where I am not easily replaceable, where people come to me and say that, okay, if you're not available right now, we'll wait for you, but we really want you and no one else to do it. I can see that happening, which is so special for an actor. That's why so many announcements, that's why so many films, because these producers and directors were very kind to wait for my dates and wanted me to do the film. And and then I'd never let go of a good script.
Right, that's fantastic. Coming, from what we were talking, to people waiting for you, it's a huge achievement. I remember interviewing you in front of one of your posters, and we were talking about having you on the poster. I think it was Thappad only. That adds a lot of pressure also on your shoulders, but it's good pressure, right?
Yeah, good pressure. I always say pressure brings about the best in me, because I want people to have expectations out of me. There's no point really being called a star if you don't really have the expectations of people riding on you. I still am very, I'm not sure if that star term is right to use for me or no, and I keep saying that because I have a reason of calling someone a star is when you blindly trust that person and walk into the theater, spend money on that person's work to watch that person, then you can truly call yourself a star. Otherwise, you're just an actor who's trying to become a star. So that to achieve that is what I'm really working towards, where I really want my audiences to believe that when I give out, I mean, get a film made or I'm a part of a film, it's worth their time and attention.
Right. Since you mentioned Judwaa, will you always make sure there's a mixed bag of performances, one something comedy and commercial, some author-backed roles like you've done? You'll make sure there's a bouquet of different variety of roles?
There'll always be different genres for sure, because I'll get bored otherwise if I'm going to do same kind of roles or the same kind of genres and stories. But Judwaa happened to me at a point where people after Pink and Naam Shabana were ready to slot me in the offbeat role, where they did not really, it took a few years for everyone to come to terms with the concept that there is something called mainstream, there's something called offbeat, and there is something in between as well. That in between was not really specified for the longest time. And it was, people used to either love to slot girls in offbeat heroines or mainstream heroines. I did not identify completely with either. I am someone in between. I love to have my entertainment quotient there, but I like to take my brain to the theater too. So when Judwaa happened, I had to just do it at that point to prove that if I can do that. So don't slot me in one side. But thereafter, it became very clear to people that it's not the offbeat category that they can slot me in. Suppose that what happened was I started getting these films which were midway, which have a entertainment appeal, a commercial appeal in a certain way, but it still requires you to take your brain to the theater. So the genre started changing, characters and stories started changing basis this new midway that we had found between commercial and offbeat cinema. And after that, now a lot of my films, actually most of my films, if you see this year, I genuinely believe, even though they have a proper story, character and all, it's going to hold you for 2 hours with full entertainment quotient, be it thrills or the laughter. That's what is important, right? That's what is commercial. It should just hold you for 2 hours to your seat and make you feel like your money was worth it.
Right. So you have found that middle path that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Right, because Judwaa is as commercial and as it can get, and good that did, all this has done very well for you. Are you happy with the work you're getting? Directors are repeating you, coming back to you. You're working with Anurag again now.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that has worked for me. So I've been terrible at auditions. So I've failed all the auditions of my life. And I've only been getting work because the directors, the producers I've worked with have had a good experience of working with me. So they end up repeating me. So be it David sir, when Shoojit Da also had repeated me twice with Running Shadi and Pink, and then we had Neeraj sir repeating me in Naam Shabana after Baby, Anurag now, Anubhav sir, hopefully Shujoy and I will work soon together again. So all this is because, I've had a really good working relationship with the directors and producers I've worked with, and that's what's got me good work actually.
Right, that's fantastic. Also, when you say you've not got these roles through auditions, there are a lot of people, actors who come to this city and they have to go for audition. Do you want to tell them that it's really important to actually go there and, put yourself out there, show your skills?
Yes, of course. I know people there, a lot of my co-stars who I've worked with, including Vicky, who has given a lot of auditions, right? So people have had a good experience and bad experience with auditions, but how will they even know? Like for me, the thing was I'd worked in South. I had done a couple of films there. So David sir had seen that before he reached out to me for Chashme Baddool, and then ripple effect thereafter. But you have to put your work out there somewhere. You can't just in your head believe that you're good and expect miracles to happen overnight. And there is no shame in that. Trust me,
that's important.
There is no shame in that. It's not like I'm shameful of giving auditions. Whenever people ask me for an audition, I give audition, but I'm just warning you, I'm terrible in auditions. So I would rather give you the link to my movie so that you can watch and see what I can do.
Right.
It works differently for different people.
But, for someone who's just going for a first audition and watching this interview with Taapsee, is it intimidating facing a camera, people watching, you're in a new place, new room?
It is. It is intimidating. The moment you step out of your van or your comfort space, it is intimidating. But then that's what is one of those primary principal rules of being an actor, that you can't be intimidated by anyone. You know, on set or in your life otherwise, where everybody's just staring at your face for like no reason sometimes, because they believe that, you know, that you are someone special or odd, because, and I keep telling people, no, I also have two eyes, one nose, one mouth, 2 ears. I'm not any different, but they just want to keep staring at your face for some reason. So, yeah. So it is a part of it, that, but you have to, as thumb rule for being an actor is you have to lose all your inhibitions.
Right. That, you know, you have to cross that phase. Right. You know, Dapsy, you've also made a mark for yourself personally also. When I told a few people I'm interviewing you, I got a lot of messages saying, you know, tell her we love her and we support her and we're with her. These are people who follow you on social media. These are people who love you as an individual, as a person. They like your movies, that's separate. Is this just you yourself putting yourself out on Twitter, Instagram, wherever, just you, and not, you know, a management thing of your image?
It does add on, I guess, because I've been handling it all by myself since the time I came on any kind of social media platform, and I make it a point to do it myself, because that will truly reflect who I am. It's not like it's an attempt to get like attention or be like some. I mean, by that way, they can easily sync the person off camera and on camera, because they're gonna feel the common factors that she is how she is, because, and that's why she chooses the kind of films she chooses. So they're not like, it's not a split personality disorder between this and that. So they end up connecting the dots, and I'm so grateful to everyone who's been supporting and cheering me since so many years. Even now, when I was shooting here for Anurag's film, there were people locally coming in and telling the ADs and everyone were like, please tell your actress that we are cheering for her and we're rooting for her. So that's like just so heartening to see people do that, which goes beyond the films that you do actually.
Right. So that's one part of it. And there is also the other part of it, the people who will troll you and who will say things on social media and all that. I know we've discussed this at length in the past also. You are not someone who keeps quiet. You in your own funny way, you'll give it to them and you'll make a joke about it. This is how you continue. Things have changed for you?
See, I don't take myself too seriously. I never have. And if people think that I do, then they're going to get a funny answer from me. Because if I don't take myself seriously, how can I take them seriously? There's only one thing I take seriously. That's my work. I don't take anything else seriously. So they think by calling me names or like making fun of me, they can actually get to me, then they're totally wrong. I'm someone who loves self-deprecating humor. I will use that on myself time and again. So that's totally wrong strategy and not working for people who would want to troll me. And in fact, I keep telling that these trolls are actually closeted lovers, because they don't realize that they are giving me so much of time and attention of their life that makes me feel so important. Because see, love and hate come from the same place, right? Your heart. It's only indifference that's going to really bother someone. It will be problematic when I feel that they don't bother what I do. As far as I matter to them, I bother them. That means, I'm important in their lives. So that way, they don't get to me. So the strategy of trolling me is not going to work. You have to, if at all, I'm giving you a hint or a clear clue. The strategy should be to be indifferent towards me. And that's going to bother me. Nothing else.
Right. You're pretty much giving it away. Never does it get to you. People say, trolls are horrible. They say horrible things. Never does it get to you.
It used to before when it was new to me. Obviously, it's only human when you're not familiar with this kind of conversation on social media. And you get to hear this and you keep thinking in the beginning, what wrong have I done? And you get angry, and because they get to your family, they get to, your personal life and all of that. It bothers you in the beginning. But then when you realize that this is their cheap thrill to get the attention out of you. And then you feel like, okay, let me just take away their cheap thrill of giving them attention. So
Right.
now I am indifferent towards them because they don't
Okay.
matter to me, but I still see that I matter to them because they keep giving me attention. So it's just one-way relationship that we are having, one-way love affair that we have where trolls love me, but sorry, I don't.
Right. It's amazing that you look at it this way. So that's a great one. Tapsi, also, you're in Pune. You had a bit of a rough last week when the IT raids happened. Where were you? How did you find out? That can be intimidating for someone who's never seen something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was in my hotel, and they came to the hotel to my room, and they said, okay, they explained the whole procedure, and I said, okay, fine, like let's start with the procedure, and they just did their job very, very harmlessly, in the way that it should be done. The protocols were followed. I was asked questions. I answered questions for however long they wanted. My family cooperated and they answered all their questions, and the procedure finished and they left. So that's, as it can be intimidating when it happens in the beginning because you're not expecting it to happen, because you're like, okay, suddenly from nowhere. But then you hold yourself and you think that, okay, wait, let's just follow the procedure. It's the law of the land, and let's just go through it. What's wrong in that? So it in a few minutes, I think I was totally comfortable. Even the officers were very kind, and they were like, this is a procedure we have to follow, so let's cooperate with each other, and it was perfectly fine. So I think after a couple of minutes in the beginning where everyone feels like, okay, where has it, what has really happened suddenly, it sunk in fine, and then thereafter it was pretty smooth.
Right, while you didn't have access, while a lot of us couldn't get in touch with you, there was a complete discussion that had started on social media that Taapsee के पास raid हुआ क्योंकि Taapsee speaks her mind. Did you hear that?
I heard that, but when I heard that from a couple of people around there in those 3 days, and then even after I got my phone, I read all that. I got to know about all that.
But आपको लगता है आपके साथ ऐसा हुआ क्योंकि you speak your mind?
There is no way to find out, Rohit, because these are really highly confidential procedures that happen. True. It's not like I'm going to ask them and they'll be like, ha, yeah, nah. So that's not going to happen. So there can be only things that we can think in our head. They get any lead, that's why they've come. Was it pressurized? We can only think of options in our head, but there is no way to confirm this. So the only thing you can do is just follow the procedure. There is no other option.
Right. But the viewers who are watching, do you want to tell them that you are a law-abiding citizen, you've paid your taxes and you had nothing to worry. That's why you were not worried.
I have answered all those questions, and if there is anything wrong, it will come out. It's not like, sure. I can hide anything if I've done anything wrong. So I have cooperated in all possible ways, and if there is something that they have found which is wrong, I will be more than happy to serve the punishment that comes with it. So this is the law of the land. You have decided to be the citizen of this country, and you will follow that. There is nothing wrong in that.
Right. And Taapsee being Taapsee did get, when she got access to Twitter, she did reply to the finance minister also, because also there were a lot of things that were said कि raid पहले भी हुए हैं इन लोगों के ऊपर और कुछ 5 crore की receipt भी है. You did make sure that you clear that.
So the thing is, as they say, the stories only presented from one side. So when the notice comes out that there was a 5 crore receipt found of an actress, leading actress, and there are 22 locations that are raided. It's the media who put the dots together and said, तो तापसी के घर में ही 5 crore की मिली है. मतलब बाकी 22 लोकेशन, बाकी 21 लोकेशंस जो थी, उसके अंदर कोई एक्ट्रेस नहीं थी. How do you know that?
Right.
So it's the media who tries to put the dots together. Did the department put out my name saying it's my house?
No, they said leading actress.
Yeah. So, and are you sure there was no other leading actress in the list?
You're right.
So yeah. So it's the media who wanted to put the dots together and get my name out and trash it in whatever the way they would want to, and they did that. But fortunately or unfortunately, me and my parents and my sister are wondering, who is giving me 5 crores? I am also thinking, who is giving me 5 crores? If someone is giving me 5 crores, I want to know it because I want those 5 crores. So that's why that tweet came out after that. There's stories of me owning bungalows in Paris. There's story of me having 5 crores. I don't know where are those 5 crores. And then is our finance minister who says that same people had been raided in 2013, where I am finding it hard to understand when did that happen with me in 2013. You know, it was very nice of her to mention the fact that don't sensationalize it. It is a procedure that happens very often, which is very right. It's very true. There's no need to sensationalize it. But when she mentioned that the same set of people were raided before is when I was like, no, that's not right. So that I said,
Right. Now, see, before I wrap, I know you have to go for your shoot and you are shooting, and I appreciate you taking out time in the middle of that. Lastly, for your fans who are watching, when is the next release? When will they see you?
So that I wouldn't know. I've already I've gotten the films almost ready for this year. Dobara will hopefully be the last release of 2021 for me. It will start from Haseen Dilruba, go into a South film of mine. It will next will be Rashmi Rocket, then Loop Lapeta, then Dobara. I'll have 5 releases this year, but dates exactly, I think I'll leave it up to producers to announce. But by the end of March, I'll be finished with my job of acting in these films. 5
releases is quite amazing. So great for all your fans who have supported you and continue to support you. And good luck with your shoot with Anurag as well. And can't wait to watch all these.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rohit.
Thank you. Take care, Taapsee. Bye.
Bye-bye.